Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. The 97th Academy Awards have concluded. How am I feeling? Well, I'm a little mixed, to be honest. I am in like a very, very weird place right now. Because on one hand, I am thrilled that my favorite film of 2024, Anora, did as well as it did. Like, were any of you thinking it was going to do this well? I was thinking going into the nights, it's probably winning director. Picture looks good. Original screenplay, like I was like, well, it might be a real pain, but like probably Anora. As I predicted, at the end there, I thought Anora could win picture, director, original screenplay. Actress was up in the air. Editing, I thought, would go to Conclave, but no. Holy shit. Anora did like so freaking well, better than I ever thought it could have. This movie won picture, director, original screenplay, actress, and editing. Wow. So, like, in that regard, I'm very, very happy. That is an incredible haul of Oscar trophies for what I thought was the best film of the year. But to be honest, guys, when the show ended, I wasn't like running around cheering, happy, thrilled, blah, blah, blah. I had this very strange sense of deflation because the one win I wanted to see tonight was Demi Moore in Best Actress. I had an emotional attachment to that win more than anything else that was going to happen on the night. I have just been a huge fan of hers for decades. I love her, like since I was a kid. I spent more than a week making that Elusive Oscar video about her career. And so going into the night, I was like, well, Anora can probably do well. But like, for Demi, for the horror genre, for just an icon in cinema, like going back decades and, going off of all of the amazing speeches she's given since the Globes, I was thinking, like, if Demi Moore wins Best Actress at the Oscars, that is going to be the moment of the night, the speech of the night. And I was ready. I was like, it might be Mikey Madison, especially after Anora won editing. When Anora won editing, I went, oh shit. Like, it's very, very likely winning director and picture now. And I was like, it's probably gonna be Madison, Brian. It's probably gonna be Madison. Like, if Anora wins all four of those, like, can Demi Moore really overtake Mikey Madison at that point? I was getting nervous. But even still, as I'll talk about in the days to come, all the reasons I thought Demi was going to win, all the reasons why ultimately Mikey Madison won, I thought Demi had enough to still win the Oscar over Madison. And so when that moment started, like right before Emma Stone read the name of the winner, two of my friends filmed me. Right? Like a live reaction. I told them, I'm like, guys, if it's Demi Moore, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to like scream. I'm going to run around the room. And so I had two people filming me. And when Emma Stone said Mikey Madison, I went, oh! And I clapped. And that was it. I did, like, I had kind of a non-reaction. And both of the guys filming me were like, is that it? I said, yeah, sorry, like that's all I got. So sadly, no, you guys are not going to see that live reaction video. If it had been Demi Moore, like you would have seen that. Like it was going to be big. And man, I just, in the minutes after Emma Stone said Mikey Madison, I did have this sense of deflation. I was very, very disappointed. And I'm like, Brian, for months, you have been calling Mikey Madison the performance of the year. Like, that is the person you should have been predicting. That is the person you should have wanted to win. Why am I feeling sad right now? Why am I feeling disappointed? I was thinking on my car ride home, I was like, in the months and years to come, I do think I'm going to look back on this Oscar win in Best Actress for Mikey Madison as a stellar, great win. The person who should have won. One of the great Oscar wins in Best Actress of the decade. It's that in the last few weeks, especially because of how well Demi Moore had been doing, I just had this emotional investment in that win for some reason. I really wanted to see Moore take it. As we got to the end of the ceremony, that's what I wanted to see the most. You know, I'm going to talk about the highs and lows of this year's Oscars. There were some really good things, like some things I loved. Some things I didn't love so much, like we'll get into it. I'm not going to talk about it all here, right? This is just my initial reaction video. I'll make a couple more videos in the days to come where I break down some of like the really great moments and the not so good moments and things. But yeah, as we got to the end of the ceremony, after months and months of analysis and predictions and, you know, more than 3 hours of the Oscars this year, I was just like, I want to see Demi Moore win an Academy Award. That is going to be a moment. And then it didn't happen. And I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, Mikey Madison, freaking great. And as I was confused as I was thinking the last couple weeks, I'm like, Brian, if Anora wins picture, director, and original screenplay, just those three, Mikey Madison is probably going to have enough strength to win Best Actress. And so again, when it took editing, I was like, oh, like it might be Madison. The other thing was, like, I was predicting Conclave to win Best Editing all the way to the end, and that never felt right to me. I was like, that doesn't make sense that Conclave wins adapted screenplay and editing and nothing else. That just doesn't seem right to me. It never felt right. And, you know, there it is. Like, yeah, Conclave did not win editing. Anora took it. And so any doubt we had about Anora at the 97th Academy Awards, I mean, that fizzled away very quickly. What an awards run this was for Anora. Like, the entire season. Like, blanking out at the Globes. Only winning picture at Critics' Choice. Only winning actress and casting at BAFTA. And winning nothing at SAG. But taking PGA, DGA, WGA, I mean, if this doesn't prove that winning at PGA and DGA, that's number one. If you take those, you're looking very good at the Oscars. As I've been talking about for a while, I was like, you know, the timing of the PGA and DGA wins for Anora, it was like right at the time Oscar voting opened, and that was key, man. Like, that was really key. I wondered if Mikey Madison only winning BAFTA right near the end of Oscar voting, I think Oscar voting closed 2 days after BAFTA happened, I did wonder if that was going to be enough for Madison. I'm going to get into it. Of course, in the days to come, I'm going to make a video why Mikey Madison won Best Actress. I will break down all of the reasons. I think BAFTA helped, to be sure, but I do think at the end of the day, the strength of her movie just really pulled her along, and she is that film. Like, she is all over that thing. She is the title character. I mean, there's barely a scene in that film she's not a part of. It is her story. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. She has that incredible, emotional final scene that you take with you after you walk out of the theater. Demi Moore was in a horror film. I always was like nervous about that, right? Like the subject matter of the substance, I was like, I don't know. And she's not in very much of the third act of that movie. You know, it's not like she's a big part of the ending or anything. So like, we'll get into all the reasons. Like, I'm already like in my mind being like, yeah, shouldn't have been too confident about Demi, Brian, but yeah, the emotional investment in that moment I have had not just, you know, the last few hours, but for a couple weeks, I would say. It was disappointing in the moment, but I do think in the weeks and months to come, I am going to look back on this Mikey Madison Oscar win for Best Actress as a great one. I really just did get swept up, you know, in the Demi Moore narrative and everything. I do admit to you guys, like, I did get kind of swept up in that. But like what was really like the best performance in that category? It's Mikey Madison. So she is, in a way, the rightful winner, and it's a great one. Mikey Madison for Anora. So how did I do in my predictions? I got 17 out of 23, which is one less than I got last year. I might have said in a video I got 19 out of 23 correct last year, but I'm pretty sure it was 18. I think I got 5 wrong. So I got 6 wrong in this show, and I missed 2 of the shorts. I missed documentary feature. I missed animated feature. Animated feature did go to Flo. You know, after all that, I was like, well, Flo didn't win at BAFTA. Wild Robot won at PGA, so it's probably going to be the Wild Robots. And then it was just Flo anyway, so I don't know what to make of that, really. Documentary feature, like, it could have gone a lot of ways. I thought about predicting No Other Land. Most people were going with that film because Porcelain War did take that prize at DGA. I was like, well, it's won like a big prize there. So in a close race, I'm just going to go with Porcelain War, and then it did turn out to be No Other Land. And then I missed animated shorts. I went with Yuck. And I missed live action shorts. I went with The Man Who Could... What the hell's that movie called? The Man Who Could Not Be Silent. And what's funny is, like, I'm, you know, in those conversations with Cody, he was saying, I'm going to go with Alien. We talked about Wander to Wonder. I saw some people predicting Magic Candies. And then the wins in those 2 shorts were titles I had never seen come up on any prediction list at all. So after I got live action short wrong to a movie, what was it? I Am Your Robot? Is that what won it? Live action short? Like a movie that wasn't even on my radar really as being a potential winner. I went, okay, maybe next year I just pick 3 shorts at random, you know, because all of those discussions, all of the, like, it didn't really matter. I will try next year to see more of the shorts. It just was very tricky this year. I just could not, you know, find any of them. So next year, I think that might help maybe just to like watch them and stuff. So yeah, I missed those 4. I missed Best Actress, of course, and I missed Film Editing. I got the rest, you know, we didn't get any huge shockers. I was worried going into the nights, like in the top 8 categories. I was like, Brian, you might miss 3 or 4 of these. I mean, what if picture goes to Conclave? What if director goes to Courbet? What if original screenplay goes to A Real Pain? What if actor goes to Chalamet? I was like, this could be a blowout. I could do really, really bad here. And as I talked about in that final predictions video I did, I was thinking about going to Conclave and A Real Pain. And I just thought, well, Brian, you know, the PGA, DGA, like the timing of that, it might just be Anora. What if I switch at the last minute here and it is just Anora? And so I'm like very, very pleased that I didn't jump ship, that I stuck with Anora all the way to the end. And as it turned out, I needed to go all in on Anora. The only loss was supporting actor for Yura Borisov, who never won anything all season, so that makes sense. Anora did so well. I'm wondering if was Borisov in second place, behind Culkin maybe, ahead of Norton. It's possible. A Complete Unknown didn't win anything. A lot of people were going with A Complete Unknown and Sound over Dune Part 2, and I thought about that. But as was the case with Elvis 2 years ago, so many people were spreading the wealth, Tar's gonna win something, Elvis will win something, Banshees will take something. That doesn't happen, guys. Every year there's some films that get a lot of nominations and then they just blank out, and A Complete Unknown was that film again, this year, not winning anything. I really, going into the night, I just did not feel like Chalamet was going to win Best Actor. I just was I know he won at SAG. I think it's going to Brody. And it did. Adrian Brody won his second Best Actor Oscar for The Brutalist, and I had kind of mixed feelings about his speech. I didn't really care for that moment where he was guys, I've been here before. This is not my first rodeo. I was it came off a little bit egotistical to me. I don't know how you felt about that, but it was a good win. Most of the speech was pretty solid, and I'm happy Brody took the gold trophy for my favorite male performance of the year. Brody in The Brutalist, that's a great win. The supporting categories, of course, went to our sweepers of the year, of the season. Kieran Culkin is an Oscar-winning actor now for A Real Pain, and Zoe Saldana, of course, won for Emilia Perez. You know, those two categories by the end there, I had like no feeling left. I'm just like, okay, yeah. Like there, you know, I was kind of like desperate for a surprise, you know, like someone just out of nowhere, like clinching it at the end would have been really cool, you know, and unexpected, even though I would have like been wrong in my prediction. I would have been like, great, you know, but that just, you know, outside of like, you know, the Russell Crowe situation from over 20 years ago, that doesn't happen. If you sweep like everything, it's why when Mikey Madison won a BAFTA, I went, uh-oh. You know, Demi needed that. Demi Moore needed to win at BAFTA. She needed to sweep. As it turned out, that really is the case. Especially with how strong Anora came on there at the end at the Oscars. Like, any chance Demi Moore had to win Best Actress, she needed to take BAFTA over Madison. Madison needed to go into the Oscars having won basically nothing. And then I think Demi Moore still would have pulled it out, but because Madison took BAFTA, that was like the one key prize she needed. Now moving forward, you know, like I was thinking about this on my drive home too. I was like, so in some cases, like especially with Moore as it turned out, Golden Globes didn't mean shit. Critics' Choice doesn't mean anything. SAG doesn't really mean anything. It's BAFTA. Like in acting, the last 2 years at least, you know, BAFTA is where you turn to. You know, if I had paid a little bit more attention to that BAFTA win for Madison, I would have been like, you know, it might be her. Now, it would be interesting if Anora wasn't as strong, if it hadn't won Picture Director, let's say, if it had only won Original Screenplay. Like, would Madison still have beaten Moore? Like, that is the question. I think Anora came on so strong. You know, Madison was just swept along. Like, she was not going to be denied that Oscar win for actress. But it'll be tricky. Like, if we have this situation again, let's say next year or the year after, if there's someone who wins the Globe and Critics' Choice and SAG, but then there's someone else who takes BAFTA, do we, you know, go with the person who won BAFTA? I mean, Anora at BAFTA didn't win Picture or Director or Screenplay, so I don't know. It just seems like in acting, it seems to be, at least lately, like the winners there are the ones who go on to win at the Oscars. Conclave, as it turned out, only won Best Adapted Screenplay. That was it. Didn't win anything else. I'm Still Here won Best International Feature over Emilia Perez. I know a lot of people were sticking with Emilia Perez because it basically won in that category all season long. Like, it won that at BAFTA and stuff. But as Cody and I talked about in that predictions video, one of them at least, we made a few, you know, we were like, there just seems to be a lot of passion for I'm Still Here, and it got into Picture, and it's in Actress. Like, we thought the one place it could win was International Feature, and that turned out to be the case. Emilia Perez got 13 nominations and only won 2, as we predicted. Only Saldana in Supporting Actress, and El Mal, Best Original Song. That was it. So I might make an Oscar fiasco video about Emilia Perez, because that's not a very good showing. For a film to get 13 nominations and it only wins 2, that's not very good. So I might have to talk about that. In the technical categories, we didn't get too many surprises, you know, like in cinematography, costume design, makeup, you know, production design, like the ones I kind of expected to win took the gold trophies at the end of the day. Sound, again, I was like, it might be a complete unknown. I'm going to stick with Dune Part 2. It was Dune Part 2. Same thing in visual effects. But yeah, I mean, the only big surprise I would say in the technical categories was film editing. I was like, even if Anora wins big, I think Conclave takes editing. There's nothing super flashy about the editing in Anora, and like, but as it turns out, like, that editing win for Anora was huge. Like, when it won that, I was like, it's probably winning Picture. Not to say that every year Picture and editing, you know, sync up. Sometimes it doesn't, but I do think that is like a really key category for a film that might take Picture. Like, winning editing is really important. That turned out to be the case this year for Anora. What did I think of the show? It was pretty good. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, you know, 6.5, 7. Nothing too extraordinary. No segment, no moment that really like brought me to tears that I thought was really great. There were some good things, there were some not so good things. So let's just briefly touch on some of the things I liked and didn't like. And I'm going to have a video coming up very soon, the top 10 moments from the show. So I'll be making that shortly. But I thought the opening like 20 to 30 minutes were rock solid. It opened really well with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande singing together. That worked beautifully. And it was kind of like a love letter to LA and certain things like that worked really well. I thought Conan O'Brien's monologue was excellent, very funny. A couple jokes didn't land, but, it was pretty good. I liked the opening. The show had a pretty good rhythm for a while. I really loved the moment when Andrew Garfield turned to Goldie Hawn and, told her how much Goldie Hawn meant to his mother, who passed away in recent years. That got me teary-eyed, actually. I really liked that moment. I loved that the costume designers and the cinematographers got their flowers at the Oscars. That we actually had like 5 people come out and talk about the work they did with the costume designers and the cinematographers. That was great. We've seen that happen in years past at the Oscars with the actors. But to take a moment and actually like have the camera pointed at all 5 of those costume designers and have these people on stage talk about the work that they do before they reveal the winner, that was great. I thought that was really classy. I really, really enjoyed that. I would have liked them to do that for like maybe 3 or 4 other technical categories, like the editors too. Sound, visual effects. I mean, I would have been down for that. I like that a lot. Okay, so what did I not like so much? Okay, so again, I thought the show was working pretty well up to a point until we got to the James Bond tribute, which went on and on and on, and I was scratching my head. I'm a huge James Bond fan, so it was okay, but it went on for at least 5 minutes, and I'm like, why are we paying tribute to James Bond? We had a tribute to James Bond at the Oscars like 3 years ago. We just had one. And outside of the recent news that like Amazon has acquired Bond in recent days, there's that. But why are we having this super long tribute to Bond? There wasn't a movie in the last year or two. Seeing Margaret Qualley come out and dance, it was very strange. And I was like, what is this about? I didn't know what to make of that. Again, I like James Bond and those films, but I didn't see the purpose behind that. I thought the in memoriam segment was lovely, but I was, to be honest, very disappointed there wasn't like a special tribute to David Lynch. It didn't have to be, 5-10 minutes. It didn't have to be like that long tribute. Remember many years ago they did for John Hughes, where they had a bunch of his former actors come out on stage, like Macaulay Culkin and Molly Ringwald. And remember that? It was that was the 2010 ceremony. And, John Hughes had passed away the previous summer. And I want to say that was like a 6-7 minute long tribute to the work of John Hughes and his legacy. David Lynch is one of the most important directors, of the last few decades. And he just got a quick little, we saw his picture for like 3 seconds in the in memoriam. Isabella Rossellini and Laura Dern are both there. You're telling me they couldn't come on stage for like a little, 1-2 minute tribute to David Lynch? I was waiting for it. I thought it was going to happen. Morgan Freeman came out and gave a very lovely speech about Gene Hackman, who we just lost a few days ago. I was like, wow, really? We're not going to have anything special for David Lynch? That was a bummer. I wasn't happy about that. As the show went on, it got less and less special, I would say. Conan O'Brien, he would pop up here and there, but past his monologue, O'Brien didn't do very much, I would say. There wasn't anything memorable he did past the monologue. And then there were also just so many commercials. There were so many, there would be a commercial break and I would know, I have 6 minutes to go do stuff, because it'd be lots of commercials, and then they'd show just a brief, just an image of the Oscars, and then we'll be right back after this. Another 3 minutes, So that went on and on and on. So I don't know. As the show went on, I wasn't like as emotionally invested like in the second half of the ceremony. And so as we got near the end, I was like, okay, come on, just give me Demi Moore. Give me Demi Moore. Like, her speech is going to bring the house down. This is going to be extraordinary. I mean, her AARP speech is incredible, like that she did a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, that, you know, that's lost to time now. Like, what would Demi Moore have said in her speech? That was going to be a moment. But, you know, an Oscar win for Best Actress, Brian, it's not just about the speech, you know, and that just one little blip of time. It's about the legacy and, like, you know, who gave, like, the really best performance in the category, you know. And, you know, it's going to take me a few weeks. Probably it's not going to happen overnight. I am going to come around to being like, okay, Brian, the right person won. The best performance won. That was Mikey Madison in Anora. You said that in September. You said this is the performance of the year. And that's who should have won. You know, I am going to come around to that in the weeks to come. I feel that. Especially, you know, I need to rewatch Anora. I still have only watched it the one time at Toronto. I loved it so much, I was scared in a way to rewatch it. I was like, what if I don't like it as much? I am going to watch it again soon. I usually, like, this happened with Past Lives a year ago. Like, I waited till after the Oscars, like, to finally rewatch Past Lives. And, oh, God, that's still, oh, man, I was, like, in tears again at the end of Past Lives. Sometimes I need, like, a little bit of a break. Like, after the Oscars are over and things quiet down in March, April, then I can go back and maybe rewatch, like, my favorite film of the year. I am going to do that with Anora very soon. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts about the show, about the winners. I will have more videos in the days and weeks to come about this ceremony and who won and, you know, breaking down, like, the reasons why so-and-so won, so-and-so lost. But these are my initial reactions. I'm, you know, in a way, I'm actually feeling better about it all at the end of this recording than I was at the beginning. You know, I kind of came on here as a Debbie Downer, you know, like, Demi Moore didn't win, you know, and I did feel that in the moments, you know, I couldn't, like, just react as, like, enthusiastically about Mikey Madison that I thought I would. I was like, well, I might not jump up, but I'll be excited, and I was just like, okay, you know, in the moment, I couldn't do it. I really wanted Demi to win in that moment. But in the hours that have passed, I'm feeling better about Madison's win, and I do think in the weeks to come, I'm going to feel very good about it. I love that performance. I love that movie. Can you believe how well Anora did at the 97th Academy Awards? I can't believe it. I cannot believe that movie won 5 prizes, 4 for Sean Baker. Sean Baker is now the first person in history to win 4 Academy Awards in the same night for the same movie. Walt Disney did it for different projects one night, many decades ago. This is the first time one person has won 4 for the same movie in a single night. That is wild, you know? Like, I was so bummed when he didn't get a screenplay nomination for the Florida Project. I was so mad when Red Rocket got nothing. 0 nominations. The Academy made it up to Sean Baker this year. Holy cow! 4 trophies for Sean Baker. Editing, screenplay, director, picture. I mean, that's pretty great. I mean, it's not every year, guys, that my favorite film of the year wins Best Picture even. And for my favorite film to take picture, director, screenplay, actress, and editing, that is crazy. I especially after it did so poorly at the Globes and stuff, I was like, is Anora gonna win anything this season? Is it just gonna get nominated everywhere? Oh, it won stuff. It won big at the 97th Academy Awards. And so yeah, I can't go to bed disappointed tonight. I'm going to bed very happy. I mean, for Anora to do as well as it did, that is frickin' awesome. So thanks so much for going along with me on this long journey, going back months, all the prediction videos I did, you know, all the reaction videos to all of these ceremonies. You know, I've worked really hard. And to get all of your love, your enthusiasm, you know, it really means the world to me, guys. So thank you so much. Let me know in the comments below, what are your main reactions to the 97th Academy Awards? And I will see you next time at the Awards Contender.